Okay, this is the next update. So I've been working like a little beaver on the whole layout, basically. Um, what I'm thinking for Livingston is I have to assemble this building. It's painted, and I have to finish. It just needs the roof put on and re-glue in the corners. The locomotive shops. I'm thinking I'm going to use these with a turntable from Kato when it comes in. It's back ordered, but when it comes from Pfeiffer, instead for something different, because I'm going to have the normal Cato roundhouse for the Union Pacific and the Milwaukee Road. So anyway, that's the first thing. Uh, I rearranged Livingston because I put it back. I made it simpler for now anyway. And I have these Faller car system vehicles that I've always wanted to install. I had them not on the last layout, but the layout before that. I have two cars only, but I'm thinking I can get this cork at the dollar store. I'm going to pick up some more, bury my steel cable in here. Painting cork like road works really good for me, and then basically making um, a road scene in the front here of the buildings. So I would have it go around the church, turn around in the parking lot kind of thing, and then I can have it turn around here, which brings me to the next point. So I've glued this foam. I got a big sheet, or my wife got me a big sheet for a present of the foam I always wanted. It's a 2" and 1/8 foam, and it's actually taped to the top of my toolbox. And then I've just got a block cut to the right size. I'll build something better later. And I put this bracket here. So I took all the crazy man Ukrainian carpentry down, and I put this up instead. And I thought, well, if I make it out of foam, it'll be sturdy. So you can see it's pretty sturdy. I ran, not that I run the big boy in this part of Montana, but I ran it because it's a big locomotive. It runs great. I ran my Pacific, good locomotive, up the hill. I got this track reinstalled. I simplified it as well. As you can see, if you looked in the short videos I upload, I took videos of everything. I do have some more work to do, but certain parts of this scene is finally done, and I'm really happy how it turned out. I used to actually have this track plan on the foam, and then I had added an extra siding on here and made it so that there was 3 tracks here. To have proper scenery, to make it look not like spaghetti, I took that siding out. It's less likely that there would be a 3-track. A double track's already crazy enough through the mountains. So I have the one siding here that's quite a bit shorter because I put the great stuff and the plaster cloth here, and I've changed this. If you watch all the shorts, how many configurations of the mine that a guy can have, but this is the one I'm leaning towards. I've got all these buildings and plastic storage tubs, and I've got lots of options. The reason I changed this is that's a coal mine, and I want it to be an underground mine for copper. So I figured they would enjoy having an enclosed space. So this was actually from a refinery I had 2 layouts ago, the one with the moving cars and the Glacier gravel kit. And then this is a little scratch built thing that I bought for $5 at Trains and Such in the used bin. So I hot glued this little foam box. This is probably pretty close to how it's going to be. I want to put lights in it, drill my holes for them. I had enough feeders here. It does have enough feeders to work, but I want to add some extra. I have taken some off and moved some around because of the way the track work is, but I really like how this is coming out. Now, I haven't set the track back on here, and in the last video I was talking about adding a passing siding there. The reason that I had the passing siding on this line was when I was running 2 different trains of my Broadway USRA steamers, they would have a meet, and with the passing siding, 17, 15, 20 cars, whatever, they could pass each other. So this is what's different. One, there could be a passing siding that's partially hidden by a mountain, so it still looks real with one track. So that's probably going to happen. But then two, this loop was never a double track loop. It was always a single return loop. So it goes from double track to actually 4 tracks with switches. I just have to put a piece there, but I don't have it hooked up because I don't have reversing loop hooked up. But what this is going to allow me to do is I could actually, if I need to pass, because it takes 7 rounds to get up and down the mountain, 7 or 8. Going around the whole room at scale speed, it takes over 10 minutes. So essentially what was happening is, by myself, when I'm running one train up, when I didn't have a passing siding, I had no way for a guy to pass with a train coming down. You know, sounds like, you know, an obvious problem, but this is why you run your trains in between scenery. So I can pass here, and I would also be able to pass there. This is the second highest level, and this is the highest level. That would be the highest level as well, up there. So the other benefit is when I have my North Coast Limited, like I have a couple versions of this train, I could park it in this inside siding, like kind of like staging. And the way that it was constructed with the wood before was it wasn't going to allow it to be scenic and be realistic, because the tracks were straight above. So now what I have is I have a loop that's outer, inner, and the most inner, for lack of a better term. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some sort of scenery. I'll have this open for staging or what have you, but I've got this loop, and instead of having this return loop go on this side of the toolbox, I actually have it sneak in right here. So I have to do some more modifications to make that work reliably, but it's going to work in principle. And I took some of the spare foam, I hot glued it to here. And the main reason for all of this is because of this aisle. So now I have, at the smallest point, 3 feet. I was working with like 2 to 20 inches. Now I actually have 2 feet here. You could see this is kind of a diagonal. There's 2 feet here. But the thing is, when I had just one person over, this part of the layout, it's a U shape for the aisle, this is where we were crossing paths the most, and this is where I was running into an issue. Besides the fact, by myself, I'd be sitting on my stool, operating my favorite scene here, and I'd be hitting my head on my layout. So that doesn't work for me anymore. I lost a bunch in Salt Lake, I lost a bunch in Livingston, but I'm going to make it up in modeling action by not overly compressing too much stuff into a scene. And that's the point of this video. It's basically to show you, it's only a 20 by 15 room, but if you space out your industries 5 physical feet apart in end scale, then you're getting a more realistic scene in the end. That's the most rewarding thing for me in this layout. This is a 12th layout that I built. And having all the open scenery, which is what trains do, they run between towns, having the towns very far apart, that's what to me has been making this layout the most enjoyable to run as of yet. So go check out my shorts, my short videos on YouTube, and you'll see the construction play-by-play of this. And I will have another update for you very soon when I have those little faller cars running. Okay, we'll talk to you then.